Hello again, everybody. I don't know if we have any returning visitors yesterday. We've got some Bridgestone logoed fans in the back that are helping keep our spirits high. But we're having a few conversations across the week here at CES 2024 in our Bridgestone booth, focused on enabling fleets to be more productive, to be safer, more sustainable, more efficient. We obviously have a lot of different ways that we're doing that at Bridgestone and through a lot of our partners that we're showcasing here in our booth. And then in some of these conversations that we're having today, we're bringing some of these partners and some of the areas of our business in to talk very specifically and targeted about some of the topics in the industry that are maybe big challenges that need to be addressed, or big trends that we're seeing emerge that are shaping the future of mobility and advanced vehicle tech. So joining us today, we've got far end is Don Burnette, founder and CEO of Azuga Kodiak Robotics, an autonomous trucking company that is going to share a little bit about that emerging world of technology, speaking to safety and productivity. But Don, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And then from Azuga, in the middle of us here, this is Jeremy Collins, CEO of Azuga, a fleet management software company that is under the Bridgestone umbrella, so can speak to all things FMS in the acronym of the Fleet Management Solutions world. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So as we look around CES, right, it's all about future tech. There's data moving everywhere. When we talk about the ideas of safety and productivity in this idea, there's a lot of very specific and clear challenges that come to mind. We're talking about mobility, cars on the road, people in those cars, everything's moving. But what are the biggest safety challenges as we emerge with technology that we're looking to maybe address because of the way that technology is shaping? Don, maybe because of Kodiak and the area you play, maybe we start with you.
Great. Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Safety is always at the core of what we do. It's why I started my career in self-driving. That over 40,000 people are killed on our roadways in the U.S. each year. A lot of that has to do with the commercial sector, and the reality is it's a tough job out there. Drivers try to be safe, but they're out there sometimes as much as 11 hours per day. They get drowsy, they get tired. You lack attention for one split second, and things can go wrong. Sometimes it's not even your fault, and so that's a big part of what we think that self-driving technology can bring to the table. Self-driving vehicles are paying attention all the time. They see 360 degrees around the vehicle. They're monitoring the roadway. They're always maintaining a defensive stance in terms of their driving behavior. They're always abiding by the speed limit, always paying attention. And so we think that self-driving is going to really play a critical role in the increase of safety on our roadways. That's what we're trying to do.
Right?
That's the core.
And Jeremy, with Azuga, right, I think a lot of people are more familiar, maybe Don, you talk about the commercial trucking industry. This is the long haul, the big trucks those are the fleets that come to mind to a degree in what Kodiak does. But with Azuga, Jeremy, right, we're talking about fleet management solutions that are collecting data maybe from small to medium fleets, so a little bit different from the autonomous driving space, but also very focused on addressing safety. How does Azuga really serve that safety challenge?
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting dynamic around the driver. So when you think about long haul trucking, the title of the person driving, a lot of times is a truck driver. When you look at a smaller fleet, light duty vehicle, they could be a plumber, they could be a pest control technician. So when you say driving, that's not their job. They're a pest control technician. They're there to spray the bugs, but they need to get there safely from job to job to job. So for us, where we saw a huge opportunity in the safety of these fleets is to present the safety culture for really drivers that don't consider themselves drivers, yet they're spending 20-30% of their day driving. So us enabling a platform that can do that and help present that safety culture for them has been key to drive that safety for the smaller vehicles where the industry isn't necessarily trucking.
And I know that when we talk about safety, that one challenge is where we're trying to keep people safe, right? And so when you talk to business owners about fleet management solutions or adding this technology to their vehicles, that's a very clear, proof point. We're going to keep the people driving safe in the vehicles, but there's productivity benefits that come from, if you have safer drivers, there's additional business positives that come from that. I think from both of the areas that you could speak to, maybe Don, what are the then results of additional safety beyond the safety itself?
Yeah, beyond the safety itself, I mean, you have the obvious cost savings, of course, associated with additional safety, fewer accidents, fewer deaths, fewer lawsuits, fewer opportunities to have large expenditures. There's insurance costs obviously plays into that. I think efficiency is a big part of it, right? Humans, drivers are can sometimes be unreliable, not necessarily always while they're driving, but they're limited in how many hours per day a driver can drive. And so with autonomous technology, the goal is to be able to drive and operate these vehicles almost 24/7, stopping only to refuel and load and unload the vehicles. And that's going to be a huge productivity gain for the fleets. And that's something that we're really trying to model. We're trying to demonstrate. We're working with partners today to kind of prove out that efficiency, prove out the safety, prove out the cost savings that are associated with that. The other thing, that tangential benefit that people don't often think about is something we call out-of-route miles or unplanned miles, right? These trucks are going to get in the right-hand lane. They're going to drive down the highway at the speed limit, minding their own business, being very defensive. They're not going to pull over to random stops. They're not going to drive to a specific diner or a specific place. And ultimately, that increases the safety as well because you have less exposure to other dynamic situations on the roadway.
Jeremy, what about from the Azuga side? Where do you see that productivity gain from the added safety benefits that you guys are working on?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like for us, there's really 4 core pillars that we're focused on around safety, productivity, efficiency, and compliance. And so when we look at the extension beyond safety into the productivity, number one, we'll never sacrifice safety for a little bit more productivity. That's not ever going to be the calculation. But you do, the safer you are, the more uptime you have on that vehicle, on the road, the more jobs that person can complete. Uptime is a crucial element to productivity. If that vehicle is not on the road, the jobs can't get done. So we need those tires moving at all times. So uptime helps with the productivity of that driver in that day.
No doubt. So for anybody walking by, more than welcome. We've got a couple of seats around if anybody's standing and wants to take a more comfortable position. But we're talking to Kodiak and Azuga, a couple of our partners in different areas of vehicle technology, advanced mobility, as we talk about safety and efficiency and productivity here in what technology can drive in the world of fleets, in the world of mobility and transportation. Don, back to you. I think from Kodiak, we've mentioned kind of commercial trucking, this long haul area, but that's obviously not the only spot that Kodiak is focused on safety. Where have you continued maybe to iterate? What has this journey been to approach it, and kind of where has it all branched out because of the big challenge that is at hand?
Yeah, so I mean, long haul trucking is obviously, it's a massive market, it's a great opportunity, but it's one that we have to treat very delicately. It's a challenging problem that we're trying to solve. It's going to take a long time. One of the things that I really want to stress to folks is that this is going to be a slow and gradual rollout of the technology. Well, for a company like us, we have this technology we've built, and we've made a few technological, I think, innovations in the way that we develop the technology. For instance, we don't use HD maps like a lot of other companies. That allows us to go to more places faster, more easily, open up new lanes, and we have the largest operating network of any AV company today. That being said, it's still many years away before we're actually going to see critical scale of this technology. And so we started to look for other opportunities, and we're actively working with the U.S. Army as well to provide safety autonomy for our troops and ground-based vehicles. We think this is a great way to save lives, keep people out of harm's way. You think about convoys, logistics, contested logistics, those types of areas of operation are exactly what we've built our technology for, and I think it's an area where we can help save lives as well.
We've been talking all week about serving fleets, right, at Bridgestone, but fleets come in all different sizes, all different numbers, all different manners and industries, and I think when people hear the word, they get one thing in their head, but the reality is there's a variety out there to serve that all have specific needs. but also very shared needs at the base level of safety in that sense, right?
Absolutely. At the core of the technology, it's understanding the environment you're in, understanding where you're trying to go, and then understanding how to avoid hitting things. That's effectively what we can boil down the problem to. It's easy said, much harder to implement. But at the end of the day, there are many applications. We tend to think about long-haul trucking as the big market, but there's short-haul, there's drayage, there's mining, there's ports, there's other areas where I think autonomy is going to play a large role in the future, and it's something that we're definitely looking into.
It's been emerging topic of conversation. Obviously, I think AI is the current buzzword, but autonomous has been building and building now, obviously, over the last several years, with AI playing a huge part in this. We talk about data, Jeremy, everything that's being fed into the Azuga systems. What are those key data points that you talk to fleet owners about or business owners about that they need to look at to drive decisions and make the data that's coming in the most productive for them?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about AI. I mean, that really enables all these data points to be actionable. So you think about the vehicle, the driver behavior, all the different possibilities of different data points that you can have at any given moment, much less across the entire fleet. All day long, there's thousands of data points that are collected every single day from every single vehicle, both outside the vehicle, inside the vehicle itself. So now you have so much data, what do you do with it? That's the challenge. That's also the value and the opportunity that we have to bring all that together to say, here's the actionable data that you should take action on right now. When you think about AI, in a lot of ways, the data today is very event driven. Something happened, there's a problem, go look at it. But if something happened, it's a little too late, like something happened. So for us, it's how do we make this less of a reaction and be more proactive with the data and surface it in a way that they can prevent the accident from ever happening. Imagine you get an alert that says this driver is showing signs of behavior across this area in these routes that has a very high chance of an accident in the next 4 weeks unless you take these actions. Now we can prevent an accident before it ever happens versus just surfacing the problems as they come. We don't want those events. We want to prevent them before they happen. So I think that's really where data becomes smart. That's where AI and machine learning and bringing all that together, and it gets smarter and smarter over time, where every single driver basically has their own profile of how they drive in an area, and all that data together can make this much more predictive and preventative versus reactionary. And now we're just showing you all the accidents you had. What we want to show you is you had no accidents. That's our goal.
That's the ultimate endpoint that we'd like to target to get to. Don, what about you around AI? I have to imagine you've got a lot of thoughts. How is that playing into your world in an increasing way these days?
I've been working in this industry for about 15 years. So from its inception, when it was just a research project at a university, and the idea of AI was kind of it was a fringe science at the time. And so I've seen the entire development, starting with the Google Brain in the early teens to detecting cats in YouTube. That was like the big AI breakthrough. Seriously, no joke. To the kind of LLM storm that we're seeing today with GPT and everything in between. Now, obviously, we don't do language processing in the truck, although I think there's really some interesting applications for how we can work with logistics players to interact with the robotic systems using these new AI technologies. But when it comes to detection, computer vision, there's been tremendous progress over the last 6 years, not only in the algorithms, the techniques. There's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of researchers all over the world who are improving these algorithms day in and day out. And the beauty of the AI community is that most of the knowledge is shared. Most of it is published. Most of it's open source. We all benefit from those technological increases, and we've of course been able to apply them along the way. And at the same time, we have increases in compute performance. So the computers are getting better. The computers are getting faster. AI accelerators are coming into view. The cost per watt is going down. The processing per watt is going down because power consumption is a big concern, sustainability, fuel consumption, etc. And so everything is moving in an amazing direction. And it's really exciting to see where we are today versus where we were before. We're at Kodiak, we're on our 6th generation of our truck, 6th hardware iteration, from the sensing to the hardware platform, the compute platform, but also the algorithms that we put onto it. So AI has definitely enabled the type of human level performance that we see on the roadways today with our technology. It definitely would not have been possible without that development.
You talk about how much of that is shared, and that's what helps foster the growth and the advancement in these kind of technologies. I think part of this today is we're all partnering together on a lot of these things, right? And that's an event like CES here is a lot of partners, a lot of these companies are interconnected to some degree because I think there's an understanding we have expertise, but we can't tackle all of the challenge alone, right? So I think, especially maybe for both of you and the businesses that you work in, how important is that open mindset of co-creation and understanding that you have to bring other people to the table to really attack both of these challenges? Maybe Don, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely taken what we call an ecosystem approach to solving this problem. We're AI experts. We code algorithms for how to drive and how to detect things, but we don't build our own sensors, we don't build our own hardware, we don't build our own trucks. We partner with folks like Bridgestone on that. And I think what's interesting from a partner relationship is that for the first time, we're starting to be able to get really detailed analytics about not only where trucks go, because that was a huge breakthrough in modern times, but also how they're being driven. We know all the forces that are being applied to the tires at all times, and we can record that data. And for folks like Bridgestone, as an example, or other platform manufacturers, brake system providers, etc., we can provide fine-grained data and analytics that have never been possible before. And that's really exciting, right? Imagine that you can predict wear patterns on the tires and with higher accuracy than ever before, so that we can prevent things like tire blowouts from happening. We have access to data because we know how the truck is being driven, because we're commanding those, we're sending those commands. And that type of shared interface, shared analytics and data gathering is, I think, going to open up a whole world of possibilities for our partners such as Bridgestone.
What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about co-creation, like, the beauty of that is the customer's at the center of it. And so from an Azuga standpoint, we have all the feature functionality, the platform itself, but ultimately those are just the ingredients. We need to actually, bake the meal that they're looking for and bring it all together, including things outside of Azuga, integrations, the, different strategic sessions we'll have. And so co-creation is really about making the platform work for them and their environment across everything that they do. So like the most basic simplified analogy was, if you went to a restaurant, you order something, they're not going to just dump all the ingredients on the table.
Have at it.
Yeah, they're going to ask you what you want. You might customize that meal, and that's what you get. And that's the way we treat all of our customer relationships. So even if it's all 95% of the same, that extra 5% of co-creation is where real magic happens and real value gets created.
Well, I know our CEO, Paolo Ferrari, likes the ecosystems approach as well. We have a plug for, we're recording some podcasts over here as well. If you want to find Bridgestone's podcast, Paolo talks at length about the ecosystem approach and how important that is to bring all the partners and players together. We hope this has been an informative and insightful conversation for everybody. We'll have another one tomorrow talking about sustainability in the fleet industry and fleet decarbonization with our partners at Penske. Will be here with us as well. And certainly a lot of the aspects that Don and Jeremy have been talking about are visible throughout the Bridgestone booth, so we encourage you to take a few minutes. They'll be here if you want to ask them any questions after this conversation. And certainly we've got Bridgestone staff that can help explain the stories on how all of this comes together as well. But we thank you for taking a few minutes to join us here. Don and Jeremy, thank you for spending a few minutes with us explaining all of this. And we hope everybody enjoys the rest of CES 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you.